Coming up, a Wampanoag boxer turned actor stars in a popular HBO series. Cherokee creative Wes Studi explores his familial history and finding your roots. Indigenous documentarians fight to save their sacred site. And we learn how to say "see you again" in the Pasamakadi language. That's all coming up on the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Support for the ICT Newscast with Aaliyah Chavez comes from the Arizona PBS studios in Phoenix at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Arizona State University.
Amidalahopa, thank you for joining us. I am Aaliyah Chavez. We start our show today with a behind-the-scenes look into the fourth and new season of a popular crime drama. Indigenous actor and former boxer Callie Reese is co-starring in the HBO crime drama True Detective, alongside Oscar winner Jodie Foster. ICT's Miles Morisseau caught up with Reese to ask about Native representation and what it means to work on a show that explores the MMIP crisis.
How did your boxing career and your experience as a boxer help to prepare you for your role as an actor?
Boxing has prepared me for this, but for acting in the world of acting in a lot more ways than I realized. I feel like I've been training my entire boxing career to get into this industry. Number one, boxing and being an actor, they're both entertainment industries. Entertainment, we're on a stage, we're performing as boxers. I know we're athletes, but it is an entertainment. The ability to check in all the way in. I mean, when the bell rings, I want blood. Not blood, but I want to get the job done. I have to get this girl. I got to get the win by any means necessary. Like, I'm in there to do the job. The ability to bring that into the film industry, being an actor, being able to check all the way into Navarro's brain or whatever character I'm playing, I found that was something that really was helpful, and I was able to really tap into.
This is your third role, and you're basically going up against one of the great actors of our time. It's like you're going up against one of the Hollywood heavyweights. How did that feel?
It was such a blessing to be able to work alongside and across from and with somebody of that stature, somebody I highly admire. It was like being with Mike Tyson in 1986, training for the heavyweight championship. It was that good.
Now, as someone that has been an advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited people, how did this story, this season of True Detective, how did that resonate with you?
Being somebody who has done the best I could to highlight and give voice to missing and murdered Indigenous women, and so we can stop this violence against our people and stealing our people. Having that be the main driving force behind why Navarro will go to the ends of the earth and then some to find truth of what happened to this case that has haunted her. She knows that what she was told and the lack of effort that is all too real behind missing and murdered Indigenous people in the real world, that the realism of this is Navarro's driving force to find the truth. And that was really important for me to be able to be part of telling that story, highlighting that, because it's a very real experience for a lot of Indigenous families.
So how important is it that Indigenous people have representation in mainstream media, especially in stories like this that are based on a real life crisis in our communities?
It's so important because we don't need anybody to tell us stories for us, on the assumption of they think they know what the Indigenous experience is, the mixed Indigenous experience is, and also to be able to tell contemporary stories of truth. We're seeing a time now where our stories are being told by us, written by us, shot by us, produced by us, and we've been here doing this the way we, as Indigenous people, have passed story. We are natural storytellers. That's how we preserve. where laughter is something that is huge in our communities, that has been such medicine to get through these hard times and this trauma that's been passed down from generation to generation. So to have that representation now, especially being a mixed indigenous person, not seeing faces like mine in front of the camera or in the ring, it's hugely important. And not to have it just one dimensional. You have this stigma of the general public thinking that if you're a Native American, you look, sound, act one way. You have to be from a reservation. You have to do this, and this is just, you have to check these boxes. And there's endless mixtures, there's endless languages. We as indigenous people have very familiar morals, I guess, and beliefs across the board for the most part. But every family, every clan, every tribe, every clan, a band has in every different region of indigenous people all over the world, not even just Turtle Island, Canada, South America. It's all differs from family to family, from tribe to tribe. So to be able to be part of that and to represent in my own personal journey, Northeast Woodland, Wampanoag, first contact tribes mixed. That's what we look like. Sorry, we don't look like people who are from the Midwest. That's just like, I'm so happy to be able to talk about and represent it. And then on another end with this show, to be able to dive into the Inupiaq Alaska Native part that we don't even, as Native Americans, don't get to experience a lot because it's so remote. They are built for tough, man. And your people, Arctic natives, are built different. Y'all are built different. God bless and love you to death. So it was just amazing to be able to sit down and say, hey, how do you want to see yourself on screen? I'm not a Inupiaq. Tell me stories. Tell me about your aunties. Tell me how a hunting story, laugh, cry, everything. I want to know, what do you want to see? How do you want to see yourself on screen? And it was just a treat to be able to have that wherewithal and that patience and that ability, that time finally to actually tell the story right. It's very important to have that representation.
Can you share with us just a moment when you had that kind of a, pinch me, is this really happening out there in the last couple of weeks? Has there been that for you?
It was. We got to the premiere week. So my husband and I took a walk down Sunset Boulevard, and this ginormous poster, not even posters, building, side of a building that had my picture, Jodie Foster's, my name, Jodie Foster's, and like HBO Night Country. I was like, oh my God, holy, that's me. Oh man, that's really me. Wow. Wow. Like it was just really, I was really taken aback, and it was just, wow, I really did that. Like there's gonna be somebody that looks like me, a little girl, a little boy, a little person that's gonna go, wow, look, that could be me one day. So that was just like, oh, wow, this is cool.
Wow, congratulations. Thanks so much for taking this time. The show's fantastic. We really appreciate here in the community to see faces like you and people talking the way you do.
Tabutni, thank you guys for always being such a supportive people and doing what we do. So, when one wins, we all do. So thank you so much.
A popular series on PBS has been unraveling the past for over a decade. Last week, an award-winning Cherokee actor discovered some surprising facts about his ancestry on Finding Your Roots. ICT's Shirley Snavy has this interview with Wes Studi.
The episode is called Fathers and Sons. Harvard scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr. hosts the show. I asked Wes Studi about his appearance with LeVar Burton, an acclaimed actor and creator of the long-running PBS series Reading Rainbow.
Gates and others reached out to me maybe a year or so ago and said, asked if I would like to do it. And I gave it some consideration and thought that I could find out some things that I've always been wondering about, and decided to do so. They came to Santa Fe, set up a place to record, and started it. Well, of course, we had to do submit the DNA tests first, and then there were two different kinds of DNA tests, and sent in, and then I guess, like I said, 9 months to a year, something like that, we were here shooting in Santa Fe.
The other person on the segment was LeVar Burton. Did you meet him?
No, it was all done different places, and cut it together afterwards because it was a much longer interview, and the book of life that they put together, that you turn the pages and all that. It's there's much more of it than there is of the broadcast interview.
I thought it was interesting that they paired you with LeVar. I mean, in a way, you guys both found out some things that surprised you in your past, particularly with your lineage, didn't you?
Yeah, the lineage, not about my past, but the past of those who went before me in my family. I found out who my actual biological father was, and it was something that I had lived the larger part of my life always wondering about, because I had my doubts one way or the other. And I was uh, actually raised by the Studis, and my stepfather was a Studi. And I've used that name since I was in second grade. I've been to some of the places that she passed through. I've been to many of these places, seen them. And I don't know, let's see. Yeah, it's, that's the most northern route. And it was in the wintertime.
Yeah.
They waited until the ground was a little more frozen and easier to walk on, rather than mud.
Yep.
A lot of places.
And she was in her late 20s or early 30s when she made that journey. What's it like to see that? To know the actual route?
It's good to know. It's good to know particulars and have a real story about how we got to where we are, because a lot of our family has been doing this genealogy thing and trying to figure out this and that. And so I'm bringing a wealth of information thanks to you and your program there. The thing about it all was it seemed like it just provided more questions as much as it answered some questions, answered what I had always wondered about anyway.
So what are you going to do about that? I mean, the Blair family, I mean, this was just like a real big revelation, is that the man listed on your birth certificate turned out not to be your father. Do you know if there's any Blair relatives around that you can connect with?
I understand from their research that yes, the family continues on, and since the airing, I've received emails from people as far away as South Carolina that have researched their genealogy and connected to that particular family. As a matter of fact, what was surprising about it all was, or one surprise in the whole thing was that the original one, the Blair that they went back to as far as they possibly could, was a James Blair who was known as the Paul Revere of the South. So that, to me, means that he must have been a part of the Confederacy.
When we did the We Shall Remain series with the American Experience people out of Boston, you got to play a Cherokee. And what I understand is that
first time.
The first time that you ever played a Cherokee. And
Yes.
I love the part when you talk about the importance of language. You went away to school and you came back and you tried to apparently talk like a white guy, and you really got reprimanded by your relatives.
Well, yeah, that was a funny part of life we're in. Only took me something like 9 months to learn English, and then, like I said, went home after the first year of schooling, and I had essentially forgotten Cherokee at that point, and really didn't remember the process of having learned English. But I'm 5.5, 6 years old at the time, and yeah, that was luckily I was young enough that I could relearn the Cherokee, immediately because, well, it was a necessity. I had to speak Cherokee in order to eat.
What do you think about the way things have been going in Hollywood lately with the, Killers of the Flower Moon's not by an Indian, but certainly featuring a Native American story, and Prey, is another one, and now Echo is coming out. So what do you think about this somewhat new popularity of Native American stories on television?
Well, I say yay for Lily, and Alakwa, I guess is her name. I've never heard it pronounced, but yeah, I think both of these actors are definitely making strides, and that's a wonderful thing. It's something that we've been working toward for all our careers, really. I mean, we're getting to the point of telling our own stories in certain ways, and that can only be a good thing and the beginning of maybe a native inspired direction of filmmaking.
Well, Wes Studi, I really appreciate you joining us on the ICT Newscast. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, ICT, go.
Languages are among our most valued resources. Ensuring that they are preserved and taught is important in Indigenous communities and here at ICT. We're continuing our new segment called Language Breaks. They will feature speakers from across Turtle Island sharing their beautiful and bold words and phrases. Today we bring you a taste of Pasamakadi from the Wabanaki Nation in the state of Maine.
Upjudge. Upjudge. I'll see you again. Upj means again. Upjudge is I'll see you again, because there is no such thing as goodbye in the Passamaquoddy language.
Visiting with family and relatives will help us from feeling lonely or socially isolated. COVID-19 changed everything, like our ancestors who survived war, famine, and epidemics. Our elders had to make sacrifices too. The more we are socially connected with our family and community, the less health problems we will have and the longer we will live. We need to stay active to keep our spirits alive. Remember, you are not alone. Connected together, we will stand strong. For more information on elder, isolation, or caregiver resources, go to connectedindigenousElders.org.
Two filmmakers have worked tirelessly to shine a light on a decades-long struggle to revive Tar Creek in Miami, Oklahoma. ICT's Daniel Herrera has this interview about an upcoming documentary.
Meet Me at the Creek was named as one of the finalists of the 2024 Big Sky Festival. I asked Lauren what the film was about and what this achievement meant for her.
Siona God, Lauren Waters Dawado. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Waters. Meet Me at the Creek is a short documentary that tells the story of Cherokee Nation citizen Rebecca Jim and her vision for the community if the water was clean. Meet Me at the Creek focuses on the futurity of this community. So we're seeing gathering of, our traditional plants, and we're seeing a love story happen on screen while we're hearing Rebecca's beautiful narration that brings the audience and viewer through this experience in life that Rebecca has created fighting for the rights of Tar Creek. It's kind of surreal that it's screening at Big Sky Film Festival as one of the finalists, because I was there last year as a fellow and with Niatero, and now my film is premiering there. And so I know that there will be a large Indigenous audience for the world premiere, which I'm really excited about. And Rebecca and I will be there to do a Q&A. So I just feel really honored.
As Tar Creek degraded over the years, Rebecca Jim told me what caused this.
Yeah, it's a sad story, and one that I'm afraid will be repeated around the country. And I think that's why this story, elevating it, will be so important. So in 100 years ago, lead and zinc were initial elements that we needed, essential elements that we needed. And they were found and exploited on the Quapaw tribal lands, actually, and left to just marinate on their property and then spill over into the lands and the waters of the Miami, the Peoria, the Ottawa, and other tribes downstream, including the Cherokee Nation. So what happened there has impacted all of us downstream.
She then told me about the cultural significance of Tar Creek.
Yeah, the saddest story is that it's the other main street running through the town of Miami, Oklahoma. It was, I think, when you think of the culture, you begin with the children and you think of how they would like to play there and swim. And now they cannot, but they are. And so each one can be damaged by the metals that are there and impact their lives forever and poison them.
The importance of protecting sites like Tar Creek all over the world are then shared to me by Rebecca and Lauren.
We have to start somewhere, and we have to start with the places we love, or the places we want to love. These waterways that run through our properties should be the most valued places we have on earth, and we need to protect them because they are the life.
I think it's important because Tar Creek is in a place that the Cherokees were removed to from our homelands in North Carolina, and this land is where a lot of us reside now, alongside a lot of other tribal nations. And if we don't protect what's in our backyard, then we're not going to be able to protect much else. And so that's why I think it's important. And I highlight some of that with Rebecca's experiences in the film, this connection that we have to our homelands and this feeling of loss and love, but also a longing for this place that Tar Creek could be, and that it doesn't exist yet, but it could. This place could have a new story.
I proceeded to ask them what their film says about climate change on a wider scale.
This documentary shines light on the fact that Indigenous people should be at the forefront of all of climate change issues, because we are the caretakers of the land, and Rebecca has dedicated her life to caring and advocating for Tar Creek and this place. And I think that that translates across the world when dealing with these issues, and also just having a relationship and connection with where you're from. And so I think that is generally what can translate, is that Indigenous people are important when we're discussing these topics.
They told me what's next for Tar Creek.
Next steps, we begin with this movie. It is a start, and I believe will be a message that will resonate in the community to see their creek honored in this way. It is a message that says we can rally around a place that we ought to be able to enjoy. And I think it will be a real turning point. I believe that Tar Creek and other water bodies, other places on Earth, they have rights too. And I believe this will help elevate her and her story. That this was a man-made disaster. It was made for making money. It made a lot of money. And it poured down grief on a community that will be lasting for generations.
You know, our next step with Tar Creek is to get her rights, and we would love for Tar Creek to have rights of nature and for EPA to grant a solid cleanup for this place. And I think that this film will be shown across the country in so many film festivals and different communities, and will help spread the word about what's happening at Tar Creek, but also will inspire people to care and have a connection to where they're from and their place, and really think about what that means to them. While this is a really important and passionate story about Tar Creek, I think that we should also take a look at how filmmaking and storytelling is something that Indigenous people have always been doing, and it's how we've passed on our knowledge and traditional ways. And filmmaking is now a tool that we can use to amplify that. And I hope that this film can inspire other Indigenous storytellers to tell stories about their places and about their people. And I hope that Indigenous youth can fill more of the film industry. If you go to the website, it is laurenwaters.com/meetmeatthecreek. We will have screening events and links to where you can catch the film, and hopefully you'll be able to see it soon.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Daniel Herrera, ICT News.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.